Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's video is a bit different. I'll be showing you how to generate and rate Skewb algorithms. So firstly, I've made my own Skewb algorithm. This has some pretty cool features. So I'm going to first walk you through how it works. So there are different hand positions that you go through in most algs. So if you do a small R prime, your hand would be in this position. And if you do a big R after that, your hand would be in this position. So this program keeps track of where your hand positions are, and then using a table, it knows how good each move is, which I decided through some trial and error. So something like from here, doing a big R is really nice, right? And then here, doing, like small R prime is also pretty nice. But something awkward would be like your hand being in this position and doing small R prime. That's really hard. And then other moves like B here as well is like kind of hard. So with testing a bunch of algs, I have tuned the weights to be pretty good. This is pretty accurate for a lot of algs. Some limitations are that B moves are kind of hard for it to like rate, because a really good alg like that, it can't really find, because doing this just changes the hand position so weirdly that I have not included it, which is kind of a bummer. But I'm thinking in the future I can add different triggers like lefty swag, right, like that, and stuff like sledge, insert, blah blah blah. Another limitation is that it really doesn't like regrips. So for example, if an alg looked like that, or something like that, where it's still a really good alg, but you have to do a regrip mid-alg, it wouldn't really find that. I mean, it might find some workaround or some different rotation that works, but sadly, it's not that great with those sort of things. Now, some of its features. So it takes each row, counts it as an alg. So if you want to add in another alg, you just put in another row. So here I have 3 algs. They've been rated out of 10. These are all pretty nice algs, so makes sense. One thing it does is that for each alg, it checks for the 4 different rotations, and it takes the best one and outputs that, so you don't have to find like your own orientation. It also checks for duplicates in the algs. So the first alg here is just a hedge, but then the third one is also hedge, but just from a different orientation. So if it's like that. So if I submit this, it only shows 1 hedge instead of 2. So this way, you don't see like 4 of the same algs all showing up. Okay, now on to batch solver incorporated with my MSR Skewb rater. Firstly, huge thank you to Trangium for even creating this program. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't heard of it, definitely check it out. It can generate algs for most of the events you're going to generate algs for, and it's just an amazing tool. So for puzzle, you want to put Skewb, because this is what we're doing. You should see this move definition list thing. Prune and search 6.6 is pretty good for decently sized alg sets. If you're going really big, 7.5 might be better, and if you have a bad case, you could maybe put it to 13 and see what happens, like 7.6 or something like that. Subgroup, leave it as it is. Scramble, I'll get to that later. Pre and post adjust, leave that. Case sorting, don't change it unless you know what you're doing. And I'll put a tutorial for batch solver by Ryan Hudgens in the description. You can check that out. And then sort algs by, this is what's actually important, MSR. Then here, you can leave these as it is. I'm showing it. And yeah, here's how the scramble works. So this basically showcases all that you really need to know. It reads from left to right, and these triangular brackets mean that it's a generator. So it tries all the different combinations of the moves inside of it. So this specific case, what I'm doing is I'm doing this alg to set up diag layer, and then sledge and a Z rotation generates all of the possible last layers. And then the moves at the end twist this corner. So I'd be generating all of the TEG2 layers, well, solutions, in all the TEG2 minus cases. So yeah, now I'm going to start search. Alright, looks like some algs have been generated. You can have a look at the first one. Oh, okay, new better algs just came out. So yeah, it's still searching, but as you can see, yeah, that's a really nice alg actually. And second one. Also not bad. It's not as good, but I mean, for the case, I think it's pretty good. So yeah, one thing, you might want to set the search a bit high so that it finds these rotations. As I said before, stuff like sledge cancel, if you don't put in a rotation, it's pretty bad according to the rater. But if you do add in a rotation, so something like that, the rater would then really like the alg. So in this case, rotations do count as moves. So if you have like a 10 move alg, like 10 move optimal alg, you might want to put it on depth 13 maybe to find some good 11 or 12 movers. Don't really worry about it, but don't really worry about putting it on 13 if the algs you find are already pretty good. It's just some certain algs are just like hard to execute. And also, with some testing, I don't think you should check any algs over 1.6. It gets kind of bad from there. Like, so yeah, that's basically all you need to know. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try answer them as soon as possible. And yeah, have a fun time generating algs.